you guys enjoyed this week's episode. We look forward to talking with you and chatting next week, and hope you have a great week until then. Later, Preston.
See you later.
Was on. Well, guess what? Chris and I are back to show you some real Final Boss music. Ryan and Josh don't got nothing on us here. Chris, how are you doing, my friend?
I am great. I'm finally glad that we get to do this final phase of the boss music. Finally, some good music for once. No, I'm kidding.
Yes,
Ryan and Josh had great
tunes.
picks, but I'm very, very excited about this, and I hope Ryan and Josh enjoy our picks as well.
Yeah, they don't know we're doing this, actually. It's going to be a surprise ghost launch here, a shadow drop, I guess the proper term, and for you and our listeners. And hello to the listeners. I haven't been on like 2 months, guys. I've just been busy with college. College is ramping up. I'm almost done. I'll be done in August, and just work in college and also trying to get back in shape. So just, and with kids and a girlfriend, there's just so much going on. So I've been able to step back a little bit, and will continue to finish this stuff up. And, you know, I'm not gone at all. I'm just focusing on some other things, and I'll be around for all of our E3 events as well, too, of course. That's like Christmas for video game nerds, especially not having it last year. So it's a big, big deal. But, yeah, that's my first pick. That is sorry if I could say it right, Galacta Night from Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Chris, what about the song? I just love that this doesn't belong in a Kirby game, and I think it's hilariously good. I'm like, this makes me want to freaking rock and roll and fight, and it's so funny because you look at Kirby and like, it shouldn't belong there. This belongs in something like I don't know, Street Fighter or something, something with dude with big muscles, not this cute little smiley blob guy. And it's awesome. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
What do you think about this little song here?
I was very shocked, I'll put it that way, when I first heard this. I was just like, okay, it'll probably be a cute little menacing song. And I had to sit back in my chair and hide almost, because it was terrifying. But kind of like what you said, it's like inappropriately good for a Kirby song.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to go back home and probably listen to this on the car ride back, and I'm sure I'll get some interesting faces on my way back home.
It's funny, get pulled over or something by a cop because you're just rage driving.
Right? Yeah.
It's totally a rage driving song.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
The cop's gonna be like, "What do you listen to?" I'm just be like, "Oh, the final level of Kirby Return to Dreamland. I'm sure you know of it."
That's funny. All right, well, I guess that brings you up to bat. What do you have for us, my friend? Let's get into it.
boss song from Mario Galaxy 1. And it was very surprising when I had to go back and do a little bit of research for this episode, because I don't really remember, boss songs because I'm too terrified of what I'm about to get into,
Scared.
Yeah, so that was a really, really fun boss fight. I do remember that much. Like, Mario Galaxy is such an epic game, and I'm glad that they put the effort into and the budget into the soundtrack that Mario Galaxy has, and I just think it's such an epic way of ending that story, or game rather. And like, it's a Mario game, it's just a plumber who's hopping and bopping around on some turtles and stuff, but like, what a great, beautiful, final boss song for this game, and it's just, I don't know, I just think it's perfect, and there's so many different dimensions to the song, and it really hypes you up. It sounds like the end of the world is about to happen, and it's your job to kind of make sure that doesn't happen. So yeah, what do you think, Jacob?
Oh, it's a good pick, man. It's really when you think back to Mario games, this game really the music just, I feel like it was different than any Bowser fight we had seen. Like, the way the music played, it really had an epic feeling to it, and I think it's a great choice. It definitely rocks your socks off, and it takes me back to my freshman year or my sophomore year of high school. That's for sure. Back to 07 days, but it's good, man. I really liked it. Great pick.
Thank you. Actually, now that I think of it, I remember playing this game at my friend's house, and my friend's dad walked by, and this is like a 60-year-old man. He just walked by. He's just like, "That's a great soundtrack, man. That is a great soundtrack." And he's never played a video game in his life, and he's just, "That is a great soundtrack." I'm like, "Yes, it is."
That's funny. You just see some old guy walking by. You're like,
he had no idea what game it was. He's, Mario, what? I don't know. But
some good music right there, young man.
And he's right. It's a great soundtrack.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that brings it back around to me. Come in right now and talk. This is a really long song, actually, and unfortunately my favorite part of the song doesn't really come in until like a minute 30, but this song is the final boss called Eclipse of the World from Hyrule Warriors, which came out on your Wii U's, then your 3DS's, and then on the Switch itself. This is the final fight against Ganon and Hyrule Warriors. I think I remember playing this fight. I remember the first time I ever just sat back and listened to the soundtrack of this game, and this song, especially with the part that we're listening to right now while I talk, it's so epic. It's like exactly what a Zelda fight should be, and this is original music for this game that's not even considered canon in Zelda, but it's so... To me, it gives me an adrenaline rush. It's like this level of panic, I guess, and not like panicking as in like you're like freaking out and like losing control, but panic as in like, oh no, like you're focused, you're zoned in, and like you can't mess up at all. It's like everything is on the line, and if you screw up, it is game over. And I just love it. I think this is a great song, and this song is already better than 90% of Breath of the Wild soundtrack.
What soundtrack?
Canon, so. Yeah, exactly. Oh, love it. What do you think about this pick? Did you play Hyrule Warriors?
No, actually, I mean, I played with a friend like a couple times, and it's fun. It's just like a game that I never really got around to. But yeah, I do like this pick a lot. Like you said, it does give you this sense of like gloom and doom, and that you you have this purpose, and that purpose is obviously to kill the boss. I do kind of want to go home and like look at the boss fight, because I am kind of curious, what that entails, like what Ganon looks like and how the fight goes down and what patterns he has and what the world around you looks like. But if you didn't tell me what this song was from, I probably would have thought of Ganon or Ganondorf in some way. Just, I don't know, there's something about the instruments and the tone that just reminds me about his character and just how menacing he is. So it was a really good pick, and it gets the job done. It definitely puts you in the mood to try to beat this beast and finally beat the game. So great pick.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Glad you liked it.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, let's get into your next crazy track.
Trick from Nintendo DS, or on the Nintendo DS, I should say. And there is not really a boss in this game. It's more of like it's like a puzzle game, I guess. And so, I'm kind of cheating in that way, although I think Ryan and Josh cheated at some parts in their episode. But, it's a final
They just
song.
have Sonic songs. So.
That's true. Hey, I will say,
songs.
Sonic songs are pretty good. The games themselves are questionable, but the Sonic songs
are.
Yeah. Although Josh's pick with Shadow, that has to be a nostalgia pick. But
I know, Josh. What are you thinking, man? Come on, man.
Although that was going to be one of my picks. There's something about like playing the game while that song is playing. But anyway, this isn't Josh's song. This is my song. So back to Ghost Trick. So with Ghost Trick, this is a game I beat right before the pandemic hit, and it was a game that I always wanted, and I was very lucky because, during that time, DS games were very cheap. I don't know what they are right now, but I imagine they're a lot more expensive. I bought Ghost Trick completely new and sealed for like $15-20.
Wow.
I can't imagine it's that right now, but it's a game I always wanted. I love the art style. I love the graphics, and especially the music. The music is so interesting and unlike anything I've heard in any other game. And, this song in particular, kind of like what I said with the Ganondorf song that we just talked about, it gets the job done by letting you know that this is it. This is the final level, and you can't screw this up or you die. And everyone else dies, and it's a very cool level. You have to incorporate, it incorporates all the things that you've learned up until this point. So there's all these different mechanics and kind of like types of puzzles that you've become accustomed to. And so in this stage, it just brings all that together, and you only have a few seconds or a couple minutes to get everything done. So it's very frantic, and I love this game. I needed to give representation to Ghost Trick. So yeah, what do you think, Jacob?
Cool. First off, I love these weird, unique off games I've never even heard of. Like I didn't know this existed.
What? Really?
I think it's cool. You like these things because they're not bad. Like some people like stuff, and I'm like, good for you,
right.
But you've had a lot of fun, unique games that you've brought to the show, especially musically. And this is one of those. It actually, the art style kind of reminds me. It takes me back to late elementary school, early middle school. It reminds me of like shows like Kim Possible and Danny Phantom, like off of like Nickelodeon. That's what I get from at least the art that I'm seeing here from the song, and it just makes me feel like that. It takes me back to that time, which was always a good time for me. The music actually reminds me of like Batman from the NES. Did you ever play the original Batman game from the NES? It has got some amazing music.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that game, I think. And no, I don't think I've played it. If I have, I don't remember it, but I want to look that up.
You should look up the soundtrack. Actually, one of our first music episodes, first or second one, I played a Batman track from that game, and the music, just like the background, was like it just sounds like something that'd be in that in an early Batman game. Yeah. So I think it's cool. It gives me some nostalgic feels to other stuff in my past that through a game I've never knew existed till today.
Really? So. You've never heard of Ghost Trick for DS?
Never.
Really?
No.
Oh wow. You gotta play it. That is a gem. That is basically what the DS was made for. It is just such a rich experience, and unlike anything you've ever played or will ever play again. Like, the animations are so interesting. It's so hard to describe until you see it in person, and just the music and the story.
I'll YouTube it.
Yeah, please do.
Check it out.
I think you'd like it. And to all of our listeners, definitely give Ghost Trick a try. It's such a great experience.
Awesome. Well, that brings me back up to bat here, and let me tell you, I am just in the mood for some banging music. Volcano Dome, Lord Frederick. You guys didn't think you're getting away without me bringing at least a Donkey Kong track to the mix, did you? I mean, I will have to say there's another Donkey Kong final boss track that we have not played that I was tempted to play, but I wanted to put this one in here. And you know, it's a good thing. The one thing that was good about that crappy boss episode that came out before this one, you know, that was the whole reason we have to make this one. JK. Josh had chosen two picks that I would have put on from GARNiDELiA and K. Rool, and especially the K. Rool one, what I love about that song, so to give some credit to Josh, is that it was a song that like it blew me away, like in the way it starts off, and it's you know, it starts off like this pirate song, and you're like, what is happening? All of a sudden it turns into a rock song, and like it is so cool, and it blew me away the first time I ever had that fight, experienced it as an adult. Like back in 2016, I think first time I ever fought K. Rool, finally got to him. And that's what I feel with this song. I love David Wise and what he does. Back to my first Kirby track, it's like, these are songs that don't belong in these games. I mean, as soon as that comes on, like I can just imagine some dude with long hair just whipping his hair and jamming on his guitar. That's what I see in my head. And like, this is a game about monkeys, dude, for goodness sakes. And the whole music in this game is freaking fantastic. And this is just a great way to end off the game with. And I don't know if you've recognized the music, if you've heard it now. I know we were talking about it. If you've never heard this, your first time experiencing the final boss fight in Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. What do you think, man?
I mean, it's funny. Like whenever I feel like whenever any of us have something good to say about Donkey Kong and we like get really into it, at like a few minutes later we'll be like, wait, this game's about monkeys. Like, why? I feel like we do that like almost daily now. But but no,
sure.
when you started talking, after we were playing the song, I was just like, shut up! Like, I want to keep this song going. It's so good.
Oh, I know. I didn't want to talk.
I know. Yeah, it was so good. I'd never heard that song before, and that's because I just never got to that final boss. I don't know what stage I'm on. I think I'm on like the 4th world or whatever I'm trying to say. And oh man, that was such a treat. That song is a treat. Like, I just love how it progresses. Like, it has that crazy guitar, and then it just like brings all these other instruments and elements into the song, and it's so good.
Yeah.
And I like that there was kind of like sprinkles of like a retro vibe too throughout. You know?
Definitely.
So I love this period that we're in, where we have like this appreciation for old school music, but we're bringing it into the modern era with some real practical instruments, and I just think it's such a great combination of the two types of vibes. So yeah, it was a great pick. I love that song. Great.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. And for the record, we think Josh and Ryan did a good job with their picks. We're just busting their chops. That's what we do. That's what I do. They suck. They're fired. They're not even here.
I've listened to that episode a few times because I love the picks on that song, on the episode.
It's good. All right, man. Back to you. Let's see what you brought to the table.
Song from one of my favorite games, Sin and Punishment, and this is the Sin and Punishment for the N64. Many of you might know this, but for those of you who might not, Sin and Punishment for the N64 never came to America, which is such a tragedy, especially considering the fact that it was made for Americans in mind. But we eventually got it on the Wii eShop, and when I saw that news announcement, I flipped. This was a game I always heard about, and I love this game. It's so weird and I love it. It's just, you just shoot aliens. This story makes absolutely no sense in the best way possible, and just everything about this game just does whatever it wants, and it just, they have no regard for what anyone cares. It's just every level's insane and nonsensical and just such a blast. And also, this game pushes the N64 to the absolute limit. Like, I can't believe some of the graphics and things that they were able to pull off in this game. But the soundtrack is very cool. I thought the song had like a interesting kind of like 80s vibe, even though this game came out in probably like 99 or 2000 or something. And I don't know, it's just like a fun, kooky song that kind of encapsulates the whole experience that you went on. Like, it's just insane. It just plays by its own rules, and it's just weird, and I love every second of it. So yeah, what do you think about that, Jacob?
Well, I didn't know this was N64. I've never played it, so I didn't know that this was on the N64. And it kind of reminds me of Sonic. I feel like it's very...
True.
Did Sega help develop this game? Because it sounds like something from Sega.
You know what? That's an interesting question. It was made by Treasure, who has made a lot of Sega games. So maybe something like that kind of carried over. They're known for, especially for, what's it called? Gunstar Heroes for Sega Genesis, which pretty much everyone considers to be the best Sega Genesis game. And the soundtrack for that is also awesome. So yeah, they have some pretty cool games with great soundtracks.
It makes sense. To definitely hear some Sega vibes in it. So, you know, and it sounds like a good, like it'd be a fun way to wrap up a game against the final fight there. And the fact that this is on the N64 was really impressive because I honestly thought it was like a GameCube game from what it sounded like. Yeah. So I think that speaks volumes to the quality of what the song was.
Yeah, it came out it was like one of the last N64 games to come out. So I guess they learned what the system was capable of. And from what I understand, the N64 doesn't really have the best like sound capabilities. So for them to pull this off on an N64, to me at least, is very impressive.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
yeah, the guitars and everything. It sounds like they pushed it to its limits, that's for sure.
And I thought it was something different too. It's not the most typical boss fight song, so just thought it was a fun way to mix it up.
Right. For sure. Cool. Well, we got another track that might sound a little familiar. Mario Galaxy 2, the final boss fight against Bowser. So we didn't plan on doing that. It just kind of happened, and I think it's really, really cool. This is kind of I feel like it's like another version of your final track that you brought. It's like just built on each other. Yeah. And what I really like about this one is that I think this is just a thing with me. I love music that shouldn't be in a game. It's like this song, if you close your eyes, if I just played it for you and you didn't know this was Mario Galaxy 2, I would have guessed that like this is like Final Fantasy 7 or 8, a Final Fantasy game, something with like some big epic, like, I don't know, angel god from above battle fight. And it's not. It's Bowser and Mario. Yeah. But you don't think of that. And again, this is not something that Mario games typically do. It doesn't sound so intense. This is really an intense song with that choir it's really, really powerful, and it gives it a dark. And then what I love about this song too, though, is that it's not just like dark and intense. There's like, if you listen closely, there's like melodies that come in, and it sounds like hopeful, heroic sounds. Like I don't know. It's like got these sprinkles of sounds that's like, you got the bad guys song, and then like you got Mario's heroicness and mixed in there too. And it's like you can tell like the music itself is like having a battle between a hero's theme song and a villain's theme song. And I think that is really cool. That's what I hear when I hear this song. What'd you think about it?
Oh, I mean, Mario Galaxy 2 might be my favorite game ever. So I got very nostalgic hearing that. I'll never forget. When it was announced, I flipped And the day that that it was released, I took the entire day off. I think I took off the next day too.
Nice.
And I had a bonanza. I'll leave it at that. And I just love this game so much. But it's interesting because like when you're hearing a song outside of a boss battle, it's different, you know. It's different songs.
Yeah.
Have different types of vibes and feelings and emotions in the different settings that you listen to them. So this is like the ultimate boss fight song as far as I'm concerned. But it was funny like hearing it outside of an actual boss fight because the the choir singers or whatever you call the opera singers, like I was kind of like trying not to crack up because I'm just like picturing the recording studio and seeing like the composer be like, okay guys, so on the count of 3 just go la 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 la, and they're like yeah sure, okay, got it. And it's like, what is this for?
Right.
Oh, a Mario game. Okay, what has my life come to? But no, it was just funny. And like I again love that Nintendo put in the money and budget for this type of a soundtrack to actually get like choir singers and these real instruments and put them all together into this really beautiful package. I, as a fan, like that means so much to me, especially with a game as epic as this. So yeah, great pick.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I remember when that game came out too. It was 2010. I just graduated and I used my open house graduation money to go buy this game the day it came out. And fun fact, Ryan has still never played this game, I believe.
Oh my! Don't even get me started.
He kind of refuses to. Ryan tends to do that to really good games. He just doesn't want to play them. He might. I could be wrong. He could have played it by now, but I'm very sure he was burnt out and did not want anything to do with Galaxy 2 when it came out.
How can you get burnt out from Mario Galaxy games? All you want is more.
Don't know.
God, that annoys me.
What's wrong with you, Ryan? Oh man,
you have nothing to lose and everything to gain from the best gaming experience ever. It's so good.
I know. He's just too busy playing The World Ends With You for the 10th time.
Well, when I visit you guys, I'm gonna sit him down. I'm gonna pop that disc in, and I'm gonna strap him down, and I'm gonna be like, "You play this, and you act like you don't love it. I dare you." It's so good.
You're gonna play and you're gonna beat it and you're gonna like it.
You're gonna love it and you're gonna thank me for it and you're gonna mail me a card saying how much you loved it.
And then he has to play through 3D World after that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do the same thing.
You got to play that Meowser song.
Well, I guess you're back up, my friend. What did you bring?
I don't remember. So let's just play it. Oh, I know what I brought. This is one of my favorite songs ever, video game songs ever. So let's give that a listen. So, I believe that is the Meta Ridley boss theme from Metroid Prime. So, Metroid Prime to me, and I think a lot of people might have heard this from our debate episode in November, but Metroid Prime was like a really pivotal game to me because it was my transition from very colorful, happy songs into something a little bit more mature and a little more like gloomy. And so at first I was just like, I don't know, this game's a little too dark for me, like what's the point? But the more you play the game, the more you really appreciate this more like mature tone that it takes. And so this to me is just probably my favorite boss song ever. It's just a really amazing, if you kind of take your mind back to the year 2002 when this game was released, and they had to transition from Super Metroid, which was such a beloved game that got pretty much everything right, and they had to transition that into 3D with, you know, real instruments and like a completely new, more modern sound, and they completely nailed it. And I would say, you know, the Metroid Prime soundtrack, to me at least, is even better than the Super Metroid soundtrack. But maybe that's nostalgia speaking. But yeah, I don't know. I just when I played the final boss, although this is like the penultimate final boss, but when I was playing Meta Ridley, I was just like, yo, this song is just too good. So I don't know. I love it, and I'm glad that it's in like Super Smash Brothers for people to appreciate. So, what do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Prime is better than Super, and Marty Estes can get over it. But it's this song's great. It's really it's like a very techno-y version of Ridley's main thing, you know, and it fits just what his name is, Meta Ridley. And they spun his song into matching what his own name and body had been changed into, and it's very got the dark feeling and the intense feeling to it that you get from his normal theme. It's a great pick, man. I mean, I don't think Ridley personally has the best theme out
How
there.
dare you?
I don't like. I actually hate how much Kraid's theme doesn't seem to get recognized nearly as often as Ridley's, because I think Kraid is like the most catchiest song in all of the Metroid games. That Kraid theme is rocking. However, that's not to diminish this song. I think it's a good song. I think it's a great pick. I do like the Ridley thing. It just has always been my personal favorite out of Metroid.
Yeah, I have to hear the Kraid song. I don't know if I remember that one, but
it's so awesome because in the original NES game, his theme plays throughout the entire area. It's not just when you fight him. It's the whole area.
Okay.
It's the
oh yeah, that's the song. Yeah.
It's so catchy. It's called Kraid. It's
I
awesome.
didn't know
I
that.
love it.
Wow.
Sorry, totally just hijacked your.
No. That's I totally understand that, and it's making me think. You know, one of my biggest wishes, like if I could go back in time and, you know, change Metroid Prime, I wish that they ended up including their Kraid concept, because Kraid was supposed to be in Metroid Prime, and the art that leaked from that is just so cool. So
a freaking Omega Pirate came out instead.
Yeah, for real. So imagine, you know, a meta Kraid with this type of treatment, this type of musical treatment to his theme, you know. And like you said, you know, that's a really good point that they incorporated all these like different elements into Ridley's theme, which was already established and like a classic. And it's just so cool to see how they brought these new sounds into it and kind of like take it to the next level and relate it to his body. So yeah,
Meta Kraid, Prime 4 maybe.
Hey,
who knows?
maybe.
We'll see.
Fingers crossed. We'll see.
Fingers crossed. All right, my friend, I got another song for you from a familiar face. Specifically, however, I have to admit that it's not this theme that I had the most nostalgic for. I think this is the best version because they added, by the time you got to this game, they added to it. They made the song a little bit longer and added they just made it a little bit more because it used to just be that same part we're listening to right now, just on repeat, and it was really short. My original nostalgia comes from the Game Boy, the original Fat Game Boy, Kirby's Dream Land 1 and 2, and you know, I remember getting to that final boss fight and just feeling so scared as a little kid, like you're flying in on Kirby's star. It really scared me, intimidated me as a little kid. You know, this is my first boss fight ever, and I'm going up against King Dedede. So this song is forever ingrained in my brain. It's from a nostalgia standpoint. I think it's really good. I loved it. What about you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Kirby, you know, as we mentioned before, is a franchise that has inappropriately amazing music for the franchise, and this is just another great example of it. And yeah, especially with their boss themes, like they just really nailed their boss themes in Kirby games. And yeah, this one's awesome.
Apparently.
I didn't get a chance to play this particular one. One of my very first games ever was Kirby 64, which also had a really great boss theme that I was going to choose for this one. But yeah, it's really cool, like to I don't know, I just like the character of King Dedede. He's just such a weird character, and I don't think I've played a game where I fought him as the last boss, but I'll hopefully get a chance to do that at some point. But yeah, great song.
Yeah. That's crazy, because he was like originally the main baddie. He was like the Bowser of Kirby.
Yeah.
But he's been more used as an ally in recent times. Instead.
Exactly, yeah. Like I just thought the Dark Matter character was the main Kirby villain, which made sense because he's like an orb like Kirby. But yeah, I don't know. Dedede is such a weird, lovable character, and I'm glad that he's like kind of the official enemy of Kirby, alongside Meta Knight at least.
Yeah. Kind of like they had to join forces to defeat a greater evil, but hindsight, he was really the bad guy. So we're getting to the end of our episode here, Chris, and I brought the intro song, so I wanted you to have the last outro song here. So, but before we do that, I have one more song to play, and I think you'll love it. Let's go ahead and dive into it, and then we'll let you take it away with one of your banging songs.
Sounds good.
Fight of the game, and I know Chris has not played Undertale, and this is an indie game. It's not a direct Nintendo game, and it is very modern, but I had to play it. The part you're listening to right now, Chris, you have no idea because you've not played this game, but this game, getting to this point in this game is not guaranteed, first off, depending on what you do in the game, and second off, like this. Oh, you talk about get filled with hope and goosebumps and adrenaline. Like, the point is, if you know the story and you've been following along and you get to this point, this is like, it's insane, because it's like, what I love about Undertale is that it's such a it breaks the fourth wall so many times, and the point and part of this game is, in the story, it's an emotional scene, and like, you're basically you're fighting for everybody in this game, and at this point, like, pretty much everyone, everyone's screwed, and like we talked about earlier, but like it really is different if you know the story, you know what's happening, and it's like basically like a secret boss fight, but it actually is the completion of the story. If you play the game right, you get to the final secret boss, and it's like the twist of the story. It's like, what? But if you don't do things right, you'll never know what happens here. And this song is just basically it's just basically makes you like you grab the power star, and the power star music's never going to turn off, and you're basically unbeatable here, and you just have to keep pushing forward and not giving up to beat this final boss. I love the music of Undertale. I have said that a million times on this podcast, and I wanted nothing to do with the game Undertale. I don't even like JRPGs, and they're my least favorite genre. And it wasn't until I heard the soundtrack. I heard the soundtrack without any context of what Undertale really was. And when I just played it in the background, I was going through some stuff in that season of my life too. It was tough, and this soundtrack really helped bring me through a tough time, a low point in life, and it was crazy just listening to the music, because I'm like, what is happening right now? Like I kept envisioning like, what is going on in the game, in the story, to play a song like this track or like that track. It's so good, man, and I really encourage you to play it. I encourage you to just go listen to the freaking soundtrack. Just YouTube it, or it's on Spotify and everything. Just go play it, man. You'll love it, and you'll want to talk about some gems. You'll want to play through Undertale. What do you think about this song, especially being like the first time you've ever heard it?
Yeah, that was definitely the first time I've heard of it. Well, first of all, props for pronouncing it probably correctly, because when I saw the song's title, I was just like, ew, I don't know how to say that. But no, that was very, very cool. Yeah, I have not played it yet. I promise you, just for you and for myself, I will play this game. I promise you, for sure, because it is a game that's really intrigued me. I don't really know too much about it. I know what it kind of looks like, and I have heard good things about the music, but I don't want to know more. I want to jump into it, not knowing too much else, but it's
very important to not YouTube anything about this game for it to really have the full impact on you.
Right, yeah, okay, all right. I'm glad that I've survived this long, but it's very cool. I like that you like this game, because I don't know if, before I knew this, if this would be a game that I would have guessed that you would like, because it's an indie game, and I feel like you're more of a first party, major third party person. I could be wrong about that, but I can definitely see, just from hearing this song, why you might like Undertale, because I think that music is one of the biggest hooks of a lot of our favorite games, and it's important for us, or I should say it's important for me at least, to find games that give you that sense of wonder and sense of hope and faith and stuff. And I think that somehow with this type of song, it really does get that message across. And I mentioned this in the last episode, but something I wanted to prioritize this summer was finding a game full of just like wonder and joy, kind of like how Pokemon was when I was a kid, and just something that would totally reset my well-being, because the past year has been really tough. But I think Undertale, yeah, now that and that was not on my list. I do have a list, and that's not on it, but I think I might actually go for Undertale. So
it's in my top. I mean, I can't tell you when I don't even like the genre that it's from, and it is instantly my top 5 favorite games ever of all time, out of every single game I've ever played. That tells you something. That really tells you, like, the music. I think what I love about music in games is when the music makes me feel emotions tied to my real life. Like, I don't know, there's music in Undertale that's just like, again, it comes back to here's my theme. The music shouldn't belong in this game. The way this game looks, it does not look like it should have this music in it. It absolutely shouldn't. I mean, have you seen the artwork for the game? It's not the prettiest.
I have the game, and the box art is just like, really? This is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like, what is this? It looks like a cheap computer game, and it's not. It's amazing, dude. And it's music that shouldn't be in this game, and it is, and it's what makes Undertale one of the greatest games of all time.
I mean,
top 3.
I feel like this title could be a good example of why video games could be perceived as art, because it's this culmination of all these different disciplines that create this experience for us. It's music, it's these interactions that are really finely curated, and it's like it's I'll leave it at that for now, but it's all these different things that create this experience that these developers have in mind for you, and they want to transform your feelings and have you transcend into a different reality and world. And I think it's amazing because with Undertale, the graphics don't look that great, but it's the music that really takes you into a new world. And it's kind of like Pokemon too on the Game Boy. Pokemon's not the most beautiful game on Game Boy, but the music just does something to you. It just takes you somewhere else. So it's amazing when people are able to do that to us.
Totally. But that's not our last song. You get the last final say here. Just to let our fans know, you guys, we're going to create a poll. You vote. Who did it better? Was it Ryan and Josh combo Boss Music, or was it Volume 2 by Chris and Jacob? You guys let us know. We'll post a poll after this episode's up and out. But we want to hear from you guys. And if you have any tracks that we never even played from either episode, please share with us. We want to hear them.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing about this poll. I'm kind of like worried about us breaking up as a result of this.
It's the end of the show.
Yeah, this was it, guys.
It's a battle of the bands. View it as like a battle of the bands, and the winner, the losers has to buy, I don't know, food for E3 party or something. How about that?
We'll see about that. Yeah, but to our listeners, I don't know if I mentioned this, but you look really dapper today. Just wanted to let you know that. So
yeah, you guys
don't let that affect your vote, but you look really good today.
Very fine and fly.
We value you.
We do. I'm sure,
especially me and Jacob.
Yeah, I'm sure Ryan and Josh didn't take the time to tell you this stuff, guys.
Yeah, that just goes to show what kind of people they are. Come on.
Typical, right? Well, Chris, you go ahead and lead us out here, man, and we'll play your song and then end us off with our due diligence.
Sounds good. So this is one of my favorite songs, video game songs ever. This is from F-Zero GX, and while this is technically not from a final boss fight, it comes from the final set of tracks in F-Zero GX, and this song, I think once you hear it, you'll be like, oh, I get why he chose this. So here we go. So that was apparently Feel Our Pain, and in parentheses, Firefield from F-Zero GX. This entire game has songs that are just outrageously good for a racing game, and a racing game that unfortunately did not sell too well. And it's but you know what gives me some solace is that this is the last F-Zero game, perhaps even ever, and at least they went out with a bang with these songs, you know, especially this one. So yeah, this is from one of the coolest tracks in the game, and there's many tracks, and it's just I don't even have too much to say because it's just so good, you know. It's just so unexpectedly good. It just really amps you up, and like if you're ever feeling like enraged by something, or like you just want to like work out or whatever, this just really pumps you up. And I was going for a walk trying to find some good music picks for this episode, and when I heard this one I was just like, yeah. I don't know, I just love it. So what do you think, Jacob?
Well, finally, it's a song that actually sounds like it's in the type of game it should be in, a fast-paced death racing game. It's the same feelings I get from Donkey Kong, Tropical Freeze, and Kirby, the first pick we had, but this actually is in the appropriate setting. Right. No, it's great, man, and it's really a shame that we don't have more F-Zero. I'm sure every podcast says this. You know what I heard recently, actually, on like NBC, that F-Zero has been on hiatus longer than it's been like alive. If that makes sense. Like they haven't done anything with it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I think it's only been around like, I don't know, it was probably around for like 10 years, from like, I don't know, 92-ish to 2003, because that's when this game came out, and that's been almost 20 years. Yeah. That's outrageous.
It's pretty nuts. So I don't know what Captain Falcon did to get put in prison for so long, but he hopefully Nintendo can figure something out and come back with him. But the song's great, and this, I have heard track. We've actually done an episode over this game a long time ago, and I remember editing for that and finding tons of awesome tracks for this game. The characters have their own themes, and it's a game riddled with awesome music, and especially me with like being a punk rock, alternative rock kid, this stuff's right up my alley, especially when it's in a video game. So very good pick, Chris.
Thank you. You should play this for Jack, your son. I'm curious to see like how much he would go crazy with it.
He'd probably start headbanging, dude. He headbangs when I play him some punk rock. So
I've seen the videos.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. I'll send you a video of it. Well, why don't you do our due diligence, my friend, and just tell everybody where they can find us.
All right. Well, you can find us on all of your favorite podcast services. I'm sure you already have, but in case this might help any of you, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Podcasts, as well as Pandora. You can find us on YouTube as well. Just search for Nintendo Nostalgia. And you can also find us on social media. So we have a Facebook group at Nintendo NOS, on Twitter at Nintendo_NOS, and on Instagram, Nintendo NOSIN. That's all one word. And if this helps, you can also find all of our contact information in the episode description. So please reach out to us. We love hearing from our fans, and we love seeing like posts on Facebook, and you know, everyone's like poll results and stuff. And we'll definitely have one for this episode, I'll tell you that much. So yes, and also if you want to reach out to us about whatever you're playing or your thoughts on an episode, we love hearing from you guys. So you can send us an email at nintendonostalgiain@gmail.com, and you can also call our hotline at 317-969-5690. But I hope everyone enjoyed our episode. I had a great time recording it with you, Jacob, and I guess we'll see everyone next time.
See you guys. Bye.